As promised in my last watercolor painting, I promised I was going to do coffee paintings today. But if you want to see watercolor floral, at my previous video, do my easy steps for the watercolor floral, but let's do the coffee. The tricky part sometimes painting without or painting with the coffee is because it's coffee, it's a little sticky. And so sometimes we're going to put in a crow in here or a raven. I get a little cat here or something, and it is so frustrating. Looks like this may have watered down. Got a little bit of watered down. You're really, with the coffee paintings, you really are just really going with the values that you're seeing. Just like when you're painting with other things, it's just with the coffee, it's a little bit more tricky. I did dilute my coffee a little bit, and I'm wondering if I've diluted it too much. You really want it to be, or at least I like it to be, as thick as like a sumi or a India ink, watercolor India ink. So we'll just keep working on this one. Oh, you can also lift your coffee. Let me show that. You try not to break up the fibers too much of the paper, because this is a watercolor paper. But you can lift just like that. Use your tissue that you should have, just like with the watercolors on the side. Because remember, because you're painting with coffee, you didn't bring any art supplies with you, but you just need a paper towel. And we're gonna lift a little bit more here and follow our little shadows or values. We have some lighter, the brightest area here where the feathers are hitting the sunshine. And with the necks turning around like this. So we do want some bright light in here. Everything else that's middle, kind of a middle value. You can just drag your coffee around a little bit here and there. And we're just looking for these shadow shapes. This really helps when you're just painting or you're doing ink work to think in the one with, I guess, any color really, you can do it. And you're really trying to teach yourself or learn the values. That's that little tuft of hair, right? Or hair, feathers that they have right there. A little sun right here will be hitting the head right here. I think the hardest part of doing any kind of work with coffee is you get these sometimes when you have cats. You get these little cat hairs that get into things, and it's so frustrating because you don't want them in there because they're obvious with the shiny coffee. Because we are going to be spraying our coffee work here. We get it to where we like it with a UV fixative. to waterproof it, and because coffee is so acidic, because we want it to last very, very, very long time. So I'll keep working on that. Once it starts getting really sticky and you can let it dry a little bit is when you can come in with just, oh, I just touched some of it, with a little bit more of the details and get it to darken up in some spots here a little bit. But you kind of have to be careful with coffee, because just like with other mediums, like a watercolor medium, you can lift where you don't want to lift too much. So you do need to be a little careful about that. I really feel like I like where it is now. So what I'm gonna do is wait for it to dry, and then I'll show you how to spot and lift for a little bit more texture. But I love him, he looks amazing. I did also lift a little bit of the ring that was going through him up, so it kind of makes him look like he's in front of the coffee ring and back. And I will sign with a little coffee signature, but I need to wait for this all to dry so I can put a couple texture water dabbles and then lift that. I think I also found a hair. Hope that got that all out, but it's looking amazing. So we have a raven piece. This is going to be a 6x6 piece here, and then we'll sign and fingerprint the back. It's when it gets dry to the touch, and I think we have a little down here at the bottom dry to the touch, so we just put a little bit, get a little bit of our, well, we don't want it too watery either. I'm going to touch wherever I want the highlights. Show you here, right on the knuckles here. Okay, you don't see it yet. Take a dry part of your napkin and push on it. I don't know if you can see that, but it makes it stand out. It gives it a highlight. I'll just use this as an example, but I don't know if I'll keep this on here, but let's use this as an example here. See how I just made 3 textured lines of like where the texture of the leg would be? I don't really want that. That's how easy your coffee can lift, and that's one of the reasons why, let me get a little bit of coloring back in there. One of the reasons why I love to use the coffee, but at the same time, this is why we have to put a fixative down. Just gonna put that back a little bit the way I had it, because I just wanted to show you. I didn't want it to look quite that light in color. And then I also think I see either a cat hair or it's a paintbrush hair. Drive me nuts in coffee. That's the hardest part of coffee work, is just to keep things from sticking in it. He's looking amazing. Let's see if we can get in there really close. And you will also, especially once we spray it, see it's still really wet, but there will be a shine. See, coffee actually does have a natural shine most of the time. That's why I try not to lift too much of it, because it dulls a little bit, but when we spray it with the fixative, that'll also give it like a little bit of a shine when it's waterproofing it. But this is the raven. I think I'm also going to add a little bit more of the texture splattering to this, and I just wanted to kind of not have it be so dark. And if you want a little bit more, you know, like when you spill your coffee, then dip it in the water so it wasn't the coffee, so you get a different tone, a different value of some dripples on it. Dripples. Is dripples with word? I think I'm going to go ahead and bring some of this down here too. I usually don't take it all the way to the edge, but there is the raven. I'm going to just do a little bit more work on the beak. A little bit, maybe add a little bit, I don't know, is it dry enough to do a little bit of texturing here? It's hard to show you while I'm doing it here, but let's do some of these. I'm going to just kind of come in with a little bit of texturing here. See how easy that lifts and textures? Gets another little value there, but it helps you kind of control a little bit. And then don't think it's dry enough around here yet to do my last eye effect, but let me take a closer look. Still a little bit too wet. And then again, you always risk this when you're doing dabbles, but I love the way it looks, because it actually looks like he's got a hold of some coffee himself and it drizzled out of his mouth. But I love that. That looks really cool. That wasn't unexpected. It's kind of why I like to splatter a little bit more. Still gonna wait for the drying, and I'm gonna do just a little bit of a highlight on his eye. I think that we are done with this one here. Let me get, there we go. But he's gonna look amazing. He's very cool. Okay, so I went in and worked a little more details, darkened around the eyes, got my highlights lifted. by the dabble and lift that I showed you on how to do. I hope you really enjoy painting with coffee. I really do. It's super fun. You don't need art supplies. This is what I found to be one of my favorite ones. I just mix it thick enough to be like an India ink, and it smells amazing the whole time you're painting. So I'm gonna do some more here. Hope you will try it out. Again, there's a little bit of a patience that's required. Otherwise, you're just painting as though you would be doing sumi-e or an ink painting. But with the coffee, you can dabble on it, you can lift. It's just so much fun. And it's such a great novelty item, too, to do work like this. I hope you enjoy doing it, and please follow along. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I will have more just kind of fun, creative ideas to do. Don't forget that I did just do a floral watercolor one. You can see how that one comes out. Let me show you the fixative that I use. My favorite go-to one is this one. This is the one that I use for my charcoal pastels. It gives it a little bit of waterproofing. I believe it also gives it some UV protection, and it's acid free. This is the one I'll be using on it, even though that one's also a matte, but this is the one I'll be using on it. Of course, we're going to be doing the spring one. We will be doing that outside. One more glance here at our finished piece. We still have a little bit of drying. It's amazing. You can see where it should be shiny after I put this fixative spray on, because this one also will help with that, keep that shine. Yep, that's all. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to sign and fingerprint the back, and then I'm going to get that posted for sale. I do try to add the links down below in the description. Don't forget, because it's not signed yet, for the stores where I sell the artwork. And again, if you want to see any of the other videos and the other 2 topics that we do on the Impromptu Life, be sure to check out the channel, like and subscribe. The next video will be coming really soon, and we'll probably be doing some more of the painting sculptures that I'll show right now. We'll be doing more of the painting sculptures in the next ones.